The GoPro Hero 6 Black. At once a crowning achievement of a tough little camera, and at the same time one of the most frustrating cameras I've ever owned. Let's continue down the road of knowledge about this seriously divisive camera. Coming at you. What's up everyone, I'm the Everyday Dad, and if I can figure it out, you can figure it out. So every now and then, I feel the need to make an update video about the GoPro Hero 6 Black, because it's a really awesome camera, and I really want to like it. But it's had some serious flaws in the past, and it and I kind of have a very, a love-hate relationship, I guess. Has GoPro, a company going through its own business level problems, been able to fix the major issues with their flagship action camera? Let's find out. Okay, so let's again delve into the fun, fast-paced world of dads talking about action cameras. It's more exciting than it sounds. Since it's been so long since the original and follow-up videos, let's take a step back and talk about where the camera started and where we are today. The GoPro Hero 6 came out in September of 2017, and its original price point was $499. Yes, $499. That's super expensive for an action camera. I mean, in the interim, I've spent way too much camera on all sorts of stuff, but $500 for this tiny thing was way too much to start out with. They did eventually rework the pricing for the whole Hero action camera line, and the Hero 6 Black is currently $399, which that's still pricey, but I would consider that to be reasonable for what you do get out of this little powerhouse. And again, since it's been so long, let's see how well the GoPro Hero 6 Black stands up inside of the Pillars of Action! I haven't said that in a minute and it feels really great. I probably just woke up the everyday wife. First up, ease of use. Now, this is my favorite section to cover when talking about GoPros. GoPros are no kidding the best camera out there by far when it comes to handling. I always compare everything else to the GoPro. It's that good. Their operating system is really clean, it's super easy to navigate, and it's very, very functional. Something that makes operating action cameras much easier is a well-performing touchscreen, and boy howdy, does the GoPro Hero 6 and 5 and 2018 have a great touchscreen. It is a joy to operate, and whenever I'm not using a GoPro action camera, I miss how easy it is to dial exactly the width and the FPS of my shots. Seriously, if you haven't used one yet, I'm not talking in hyperbole about how darn easy they are to use. It's the gold standard. Next up, durability. Again, another really great thing that GoPro excels in. I wouldn't say that GoPro has the market cornered on ease of use. There are other action cameras out there that have fantastic touchscreen interfaces. I'm thinking of the Yi line of action cameras. But I will say that GoPro has a definite monopoly on durable, waterproof without a case cameras. I mean, this thing is like a tank. I've checked out other cameras that are waterproof without a case before, but nothing really comes close to nailing it like the GoPro Hero line. I mean, these are durable, seriously rugged little cameras. Yes, there are some sacrifices, namely audio, but it's actually not that terrible and still very usable in a pinch to take the audio. Definitely worth the trade-off. The GoPro Hero 6 is waterproof down to 10 meters without a case included, and still to this day, it's really in a class by its own. There is nothing else like this. We have seen some waterproof cases that aren't even as waterproof as this camera is by itself. 2 solid category wins for the GoPro. Let's see how it keeps going. Number 3, compatible with GoPro style mounts and accessories. Well, this is awkward. Yes, it's compatible with itself. And unlike the GoPro Hero 2018, it is fully compatible with all GoPro first-party accessories and most third-party accessories. I'm pretty partial to using it in my Favtech G5, but maybe this G6 will sway me. Better watch next week. Okay, next. Number 4, decent, not perfect image quality. I've said this before, but for cameras that cost this much, I do not give a lot of slack in the image department. If you're spending $400 on an action camera, it needs to be on point. And thankfully, the GoPro Hero 6 Black has really darn good image quality. The homegrown GP1 processor does a really good job getting the best image possible. Action cameras in general have a pretty tough time with image quality due to their teeny tiny little sensors. But in all actuality, the GoPro does a pretty good job. I mean, I just have no cause for complaints on the GoPro's image quality. And the 4K 60 frames per second and 1080p at 240 frames per second are serious additions that not very many high-end cameras can touch. I have cameras that cost thousands of dollars that can't do the same frame rates that this thing can. Man, quality, yes, but this is impressive in such a small camera. And last but certainly not least, my favorite, Stabilization. That makes darn near a 5 for 5 for the GoPro Hero 6 Black. The GoPro has probably the best electronic image stabilization system I've ever seen. When it was first released, I just assumed my Sony FDR-X3000 with its optical image stabilization would crush the GoPro, but I am very surprised to see the Hero 6 Black holding up to what I consider to be the gold standard of stabilization, the X3000. Yes, it will crop about 10% of the image to achieve that stabilization, but trust me, it is worth it. It is so good. Especially since unstabilized footage is terrible and you shouldn't ever use it because it's terrible. Yeah, I get a little emotional over stabilization. Now that we've come down from on high of the pillars of action, let's talk about two big failures and issues that I originally had with the Hero 6 Black and see if they've been fixed over the almost year it's been out. First up, using those awesome 4K 60 frames per second and 1080p 240 frames per second modes requires the camera to record in a different codec. When it was initially released, almost no editing software was compatible, and using it was basically impossible or so irritating to use that I never did. But now, almost a year later, all major software easily handles files, and it's not just a GoPro issue, but a lot of camera manufacturers have started trying out using similar codecs, and it's nice to know that it's finally working because I love filming stuff in slow motion. Everything looks better in slow motion. And we're finally here at the biggest problem, what was a deal breaker for me all those months ago. Does the GoPro still freeze and lose all my footage? Dramatic pause. Dun 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 dun. Thankfully, no. I no longer worry about it freezing and losing my footage. I've been using the same SD card, this SD card in fact, and I no longer worry about it freezing or losing my footage. Though I have started having issues where it will say SD card error up front and then not recording, I just take out the card and put it back in to solve this issue, and it happens up front so I can quickly fix the problem and get recording. I don't lose an hour's worth of video. And even just making this video, I tried making it do that, and I spent about 30 minutes fiddling with it to see if I could get the error to come up for the video, and it didn't. So, you know, I think it's a much more stable platform than it was at the beginning. Is it irritating? Yes. So after about a year, I think the GoPro Hero 6 Black is in a pretty good spot right now. It's on the top of the action camera food chain with great image quality, awesome stabilization, it's super easy to use, and it's incredibly durable without putting much else into it. It's a great little camera that I don't have any problem recommending now. Thanks for watching.